Nobody is paying you to edit their film because you know how to use Premiere Pro. They are paying you to edit their film because you know how to tell a story. Build up that editing skill, because by the time you break into the industry, you need that muscle to have been exercised a lot. These things are little, but in the grand scheme of things, they add up. So if I were to start my editing career all over again today, yeah, a couple of things I would do that I believe to position me for success and increase visibility. First thing I would do is to find a lot of projects to work on, paid, unpaid. Like, I would try to find a lot of projects to work on. If you have a circle of friends that are into filmmaking, take that opportunity, just work on as much as possible. If you have people that are into filmmaking already that you can assist, if you have friends that are like videographers, wedding people that cover events, like, just build up that editing skill, because by the time you break into the industry, you need that muscle to have been exercised a lot. And for me, I remember even before I got into the industry, then I used to edit YouTube videos. I used to edit BTS content. When me and my friends go to shoot music videos, I edit BTS content, just sharpening that skill. One of the reasons why I even started this YouTube channel back then was because I needed stuff that I needed to be editing. And if people that know me very well know that I'm gonna get inside me. So for me, I just needed stuff that I could film and edit. So I, just to get familiar with software, get familiar with editing and all that. So that was the basic reason why I started a YouTube channel back then. And I learned from that, even though at the end of the day, a lot of the things I learned did not like directly translate into the things I needed when I started editing film. But then I had already gotten familiar with software, I had gotten familiar with basic moves and all that. So it was easy for me just to start now learning the things I needed to excel in film, to grow in film, and to succeed in film. So that's something that I feel like a lot of people really need to do. Learn, work, build that skill, get familiar with software, get familiar with storytelling. The second thing I would do if I were to start my career over again today, I would prioritize learning creative storytelling for film more than mastering the technical aspects of editing. Here's the reason why I say that. I remember when I started editing, I used to watch a lot of tutorials back then on YouTube. In fact, I would download them and just watch them over and over and over and over again, because at that time internet was a big deal for me. The idea is, at that time I prioritized the technical, understanding the software, mastering the software. I prioritized that over actually learning creative visual storytelling for film. And the downside to that is, while you are good at using the software, your actual work is judged as a creative work. Nobody is paying you to edit their film because you know how to use Premiere Pro. They are paying you to edit their film because you know how to tell a story. So I'm not saying you don't need the technical side. I'll just say give it more priority. And how can you do that? Number one, and the easiest, is by watching films. And I'm not just saying watching films for entertainment here. Watching films to learn, break down, study the edits. Ask why, okay, this cut was made. Why do I think this cut was made? Ask yourself questions when you watch films about the edits. Why was this cut made? Why did they not make this cut? I feel like if I was the one, I would have made this cut. What that does is, it starts to challenge your mind. The wheels start turning in your mind, such that by the time you find yourself in similar situations, you can start to, experiment with depth in your mind. So watch films. That's the easiest one. Watch films, and watch good films. Watch even films that were edited badly, and you can also learn, this is what I should avoid from that. So watch films. Number two, the second thing you can do, is listen to directors. When directors release films and they talk about their process, listen to them. Why did they do this? I remember watching James Cameron Avatar back then, and trying to understand how he did a couple of things, why he did a couple of things. I was watching the featurettes then, and just trying to learn from all those things. Now, these things are little, but in the grand scheme of things, they add up. So, you watch films, you listen to directors. Another thing you can do is read books on storytelling. Read books on screenplay, read books on film. I remember one of the first books I read back then was Sid Field's Screenplay. And that was where I learned that, screenplay actually have structures. So that understanding, when I go into edits and probably I'm hearing, the edit is dragging, what can we do to, make it faster. I apply that knowledge and be like, okay, you know what, maybe we are taking too long to get into act 2. Can we shorten this act? Can we do this? Can we do that? And so all those things are really important to you as a filmmaker, more than just understanding the software, mastering the software, and you can say press this one if you want to do this one, press this one if you want to do this one. That's not the goal as a film editor. You must be able to tell stories visually and tell them masterfully. And then in addition, I would also say try to listen to award-winning editors. Listen to editors generally. Let them take you through their process. When you watch shows, when you watch movies, go and find out about the editor. Try to just watch any material you can on them, because as an editor, as a film editor, anywhere in the world, particularly in Nollywood, you really need to master the art of creative visual storytelling. Then the third thing I would do, and this ties a bit to the second point I made, is to learn the basics of software. That's how to cut, how to move, how to export. Just learn the basics and then learn the advanced stuff on a need to know basis. Keep it simple for yourself. Just learn the basics. I remember in 2023, I'd been working on, up until that time, I'd been working on Premiere Pro for like 5 years. I tried to make the switch to DaVinci Resolve, but I was just so comfortable with Premiere Pro, I never really just made that jump. Then 2023, I joined Grill Studios, and the workflow there was just DaVinci Resolve, and I had to make the jump to DaVinci Resolve at that point. And it was like in the heat of the moment that I had to like jump into using DaVinci Resolve. So at that point, I didn't even have the luxury of saying I wanted to master the entire software. What I just did was, first learn the basics. Okay, this is how you cut, this is how you move, this is how you add stuff to the timeline, this is how you expand your, like, just the basics. So for me, it was even easier because I already knew the important things that I used on Premiere Pro. So sometimes it's just as simple as, how do you triple delete on DaVinci Resolve? Bam, learn that. But I feel like it's also a way for a lot of people to learn, just learn the basics. Once you learn the basics, then you can now keep stacking knowledge on top of that, master the basics, and then learn the advanced stuff and the rest on a need to know basis. Even after years of working on DaVinci Resolve now, there's still a lot of things that I don't know how to do in DaVinci Resolve that even today, if I needed to do them, I would actually have to like go watch a tutorial, go learn something about it, go do that. And it's fine because I've never really needed that. Start easy, start lean, start minimalist, and then keep improving on knowledge as you go on. Also, if I was starting my career over as a film editor in Nollywood today, another thing I would do is to find a community of filmmakers to grow with. Not necessarily just editors, filmmakers generally, to just grow with. It's very important to have a community in filmmaking for support, for opportunities, especially if you're a film editor, you need stuff to edit. Like I mentioned, in my own time, I had to like start filming YouTube videos just to work. I edited BTS stuff for my own group of friends. We'd go on shoots and I would just handle BTS. In fact, then I remember I also used to film BTS. Having that community, it gives you opportunity. And when people know you are willing to help, when you have a community, just tell them, if you have any light editing work, just bring it my way and I'll be willing to help with that, such that you have stuff to always do before the big projects come, before the big break comes. You are keeping busy and you are developing this muscle for editing. And like I said, it's also important to have a community for support, because Nollywood sometimes can be very sad and depressing, and when projects are not coming in like you expect it, that community really helps. And then for opportunities too. So when big opportunities come, you have a community of people that are actually looking out for you and be like, I know a guy that can do this thing. I know a guy that has done this thing for me before. I know a guy that can deliver on this kind of thing. So that's another thing I would do if I was starting my career over today. The fifth thing I would do if I was starting my career all over again, I would post my work and my journey online. Because at this current time that we are, visibility is a very huge leverage. We have gotten to a time where talent alone is not enough. It's a case of who knows you, who knows what you do, who knows what you're capable of, who knows where you're coming from, who knows what you've been able to deliver. If I had to start over today, I would definitely make sure my online presence is so strong. I'll make sure that people know what I'm doing and make sure that people know how much I've grown, so that these people can, also have me in mind for opportunities. Because in the present time that we are now, you cannot help but, tap into this attention economy in any way or form that you feel like you can. So yeah, if I was starting over today, that would be one of the major things I would do. I would find a way to document my journey and then share it with the world. And then the final thing I would do if I was starting over today, I know this might not sit well with a lot of people, but personally, this is one of the steps that I hold very dear to my own heart, and that would be trusting God to just favor me and open doors for me. Because there are a lot of skilled editors, there are a lot of editors that know the people that matter, there are a lot of editors that have years of experience under their belts. So as an upcoming editor, these are all the things that you have to contend, and then honestly you need that supernatural leverage. So there you have it. Those are a couple of thoughts on the things I personally would do if I were starting my career in Nollywood as a film editor today. Do let me know what are your own thoughts on this topic in the comment section, and until I see you in my next video, love, light, and every good thing that your heart desires.